Given the millions of people who've cheered on the torch, do the critics of the Olympics still think the event is a complete waste of money? With me now to answer that is one of the biggest critics, the novelist and local resident Iain Sinclair, and from the Mansion House, Tessa, Jowell, who helped deliver the Games to London and who is Labour's shadow Olympics minister. Iain Sinclair, you've got a swan and a note, and I think we've already discussed it might be your swan song.
Well, I think it probably is my swan song. I was allowed into Westfield Shopping Mall once before, and when I pointed out that the only access to the Olympic site was through Westfield, I was ejected into the street. Well, so after this, I'm not too hopeful, and it looks a long way down.
It is a long way down, but look, come on, isn't it fantastic? Look at the scale of it.
We're all in the grip now.
You said it had wrecked Hackney. Has it wrecked Hackney?
What we're doing, we're in the grip of a wonderful national hallucination. It's a bit of beautiful conjuring between William Burroughs and Charles Saatchi. It's the combination of paranoia and advertising run wild, and this is a virtual landscape that is magnificent. The faked bits of it do not impinge too much on the genuine horizon that's in front of us, and the glories of Hackney and Victoria Park are not too bothered by all this.
But Tessa, Jowell, have you conjured some kind of a brief fantasy which will cart us off away from our depressing recessional experiences and somehow uplift us for a few moments before we crash back at the end of it and wonder how we're going to pay for it all?
Well, it has been paid for, and as you know, the cost of developing the Olympic Park has come in under budget and ahead of time in the case of most of the venues. And I think it's it's an important question on this day when London has just been out celebrating the arrival of the torch. Because I believe, and the reason that I always have felt so passionate about the potential of the Olympics, is that it's about something much more important and much more long-lasting. You know, you can take the fast forward on regeneration of the Olympic Park, which is astonishing, and you can reflect on the fact that not a single construction worker died in its construction, an unprecedented health and safety record, which is emblematic of all the ways in which the ODA set about developing that park. And then you turn to what's been going on in the country since the torch arrived in the middle of May, over 69 days. And there has been no, if you like, kind of central control of the only thing that has happened.
All right, well, look, listen, as you say that, I want to see if we can take some shots of Hyde Park. I'm going to see if we can seduce Iain Sinclair into, in some way, accepting that people are losing themselves in this extraordinary spirit.
Well, that's not my argument. I don't say that people are not going to lose themselves in this. I'm saying it's a hallucination. Where does the idea of the torch come from?
Look at those people.
Yes, look at the people at the Nuremberg rally. Where did the torch?
That's a terrible contrast.
Well, where did the torch come from? 1936, Berlin was the first use of the torch. Leni Riefenstahl produced an image of glorious celebrations of the torch passing across Europe, and exactly the same agenda as the tanks were going to roll shortly thereafter.
I thought it came from Olympia, let's be kind.
It did not come from Olympia, I'm sorry. No, the torch was invented as a piece of ceremony. The Olympic Games came from Athens, the modern Olympic Games.
You've not been infected at all. There's no sense in which you feel,
of course,
hang on a minute, I think I got a little bit of this wrong.
I get carried away with the excitement of the actual events. The contests are dramatic. But the reality of it is it's a huge corporate bonanza. It's a very rare occasion when local government, central government and the great corporate sponsors all get together with the media, who are now in hock with this up to their necks. It's 24 hours a day slurry pouring at us.
Yes, well, I'm afraid I'm hocking away here, Tessa, Jowell. I'm just wondering whether if it turns out that it did lose money or didn't produce the economic balance we all hoped, will you think again?
Well, it's already created economic value. 40,000 people have worked in the park, 450 apprenticeships, 75p in every pound spent on regenerating the park, spent on regeneration, on making that great tract of land fit to put anything on at all that will bring jobs to the area, a part of London that desperately needs economic investment. But around the country, Iain will never be persuaded by this, but don't tell me that the thousands and thousands of my constituents in Camberwell and in Brixton that came out on the streets today to celebrate with Edwin Moses in Windrush Square, they were celebrating Brixton. They were celebrating their community. And that's what's happened for 69 days right around the country. People have found something very precious that belongs to the people of Britain,
Tessa
wherever
Jowell.
they live. And that's been the great achievement of the torch.
Thank you for joining us from the Mansion House. Thank you, Iain Sinclair. I think we must wallow in the swan
Well,
and the
this is
note.
my own particular Olympic project, was peddling a plastic swan from Hastings to Hackney.
Did you make it?
We made it. There's a film about it called Swan Down.
Right, I'm sure they'll find it online. Iain Sinclair, thank you very much too.